Hello everyone, good evening. She's a little hot in the Centennial State today, so we're down here on the workbench again. And this video is another one by request. This is for Nicholas at Warden Entertainment. And I tell you, I have no problem doing that request for him. He really helps me out. He knows a lot more about this 90s stuff than I do, and I bought it new. But anyway, this is one he asked for. This is a Williams NYC Niagara. This is another one of those locomotives from 1990. And this one is cool. Well, it's kind of special. This was the last locomotive my father purchased for himself before he exited the planet. So I'm glad I got to hold on to this all these years. It meant something to him as well, because when he was a kid, probably 8, 9 years old, so that would have been 45, 46, probably 46, maybe 47, I don't know. That was a while ago. But they were on a vacation in New York from Minnesota. I don't know what part of the state or anything like that. I don't have anyone to ask anymore. But him and my grandfather were doing some rail fanning, and I don't know where they were. They were somewhere outside of New York City, maybe by the Harmon Yard or something like that. I mean, I don't know New York at all. But anyway, one of the trains that came whizzing by, I don't know if it was the Commodore Vanderbilt or I don't think it was the Century, but anyway, it had one of these. And my father was just awestruck by it, stuck with him all those years. And when this became available, he was probably the first guy to get the pre-order in. So that's kind of neat. This is probably my favorite locomotive, just for, well, that story, and also just the way this thing runs, and just its presence on a layout. To give you an idea, size-wise, there is a scale E7. That too is a Williams. And for those of you who know the Niagara and the steam versus diesel trials, you'll know why I put an E7 on the back. But anywho, these things are extremely cool. I know the detail isn't super spot on. This obviously is an S1B, as delivered with the single headlight. I actually prefer the single headlight. Check out some of your detail up here in front. We do have a coupler cut bar down there, but it does not operate as on the other Williams engines. As usual, pretty good detail. Typical 90s engine with the shiny side rods and everything. One thing I always liked about the Williams engines is that boiler clearance, how it's see-through. I always thought that was just cool. You can see all your separate lines there. I'll get close here. You can actually see there's a separate line, one running underneath the grab iron there, throttle, I'm sure. Whistle and everything up there. And the feed water heater there, obviously. And as typical with the stuff I own, check it out. Never been smoked. My dad never put smoke in it. Ironically, of all the Williams engines I own from this year, this one is probably the least detailed. But that does not bother me. It's still my favorite one. It's just because of the size. So we'll scroll in down here. Tucked in under there per the prototype, that is the dynamo. And something else I forgot to mention on these, on the Camelback review. These Williams engines, they use 4 traction tires. So you got one there, obviously on the other side. So these things will pull and pull and pull and pull and pull. For those of you who don't know, why these were numbered 6,000 up was to represent the horsepower rating. These were rated at 6,000 horsepower. got good detail on these tender trucks here. And this tender is just massive. Oh, and in case anybody, there's many people that know much more about this locomotive than I do, since I'm kind of a West Coast guy. But so that rivet line there, that is the dividing point for the coal and the water. These things, since they were designed for that water level route, obviously with these PT tenders, they were designed for one refueling from New York to Chicago. So that's pretty cool. Same thing, you got that real coal load. Pretty good detail on this guy. Of all the locomotives I own, this is the only one that is 072 only, and it really needs 072. It's not the locomotive, it's the tender. So if you look in there, every one of those wheels is flanged. We got no blind wheels in there. I don't know why Williams did that. I don't know if Lionel or Third Rail or MTH does that as well. But not only does this need 072, you better have pretty evenly gauged track, because it will bounce off. I will do, when it cools off over the weekend, we'll go up there in the attic and I'll do a running session just with my Williams brass stuff, just to get it all going, because this stuff deserves it. And also I want to dig out my, I've got a set of heavyweight passenger cars for this. I do not have the modern streamlined style for the Century. Kind of waiting to find those. The only two of those that I would put, the only two manufacturers of cars I will put behind this are the Weaver 80-foot aluminum cars that came in the two-tone gray, which are absolutely beautiful, or the K-Line 21-inch version. And as all of you know, if you watch JD Stocks or Jason's O-Gauge Trains there, you know those things are very hard to come by, and they are quite expensive. I mean, they can go as high as $275 a car. That's a little more than I'm willing to spend. But who knows? Someday I might come across a set and away it goes. So, like I said, not a whole lot of detail on this guy. And hold on here, we'll get this E7 out of the way, and we can at least put it up and down the test track a little bit, so I can show you how slow this thing goes and how smooth it runs. So, no sound on this one. Sorry about that. My father did not opt for that, and I don't even think it was quite ready. This was I don't remember in 1990 if this was the second or the third release of their. They did quite a few brass steam engines in 1990. The first one released was at Camelback, and I can't remember if this. I think this might have been the second one. So this came along maybe in April of 1990. But anyway, this thing is just so cool. This is an engine that just deserves to be crafted in brass. I've seen the Lionel and MTH ones. They're awesome. This engine just needs to be done in brass. My father said, from what he remembers, and you know, he was, like I said, 7, 8 years old, this almost graphite on the front part of the boiler, that's the color he remembered it had. Not the silver or whatever that gray thing is Lionel did in the Vision line. But I do like that water scoop thing that they did on that Vision line. That's really cool. But I don't know. If I could ever find like an original QSI type of sound system, I would put that in here. Other than that, this isn't. I've tossed up the idea. I've been watching all these guys online, and Soundtracks, the guys that make that Blue Nami, that's actually a local company here in Colorado. I considered doing that, but I'm old. I don't want to run a train with my phone. So, sorry. But yeah, let's get the little guy fired up. I shouldn't call it little, the biggest thing I own. So, I mean, you can see this thing is just, and that's like, hold on, let me go over there and look at the transformer. I'll tell you what kind of a setting we're on here. That's between 6 and 7 volts, and it's moving like that. This one draws a little bit more amperage than that Camelback does, especially when you got a big passenger train behind it. But it's still not bad. I mean, it's well under 4 amps. But I don't know. This definitely is my favorite locomotive that I own. It is definitely, I don't know. Like I said, it just has such a presence on your layout when it's running around. Everybody notices this thing. And it runs just so dang good. It really does. Someday I would like to acquire the third rail version of this. I just, I don't know. Those things seem, and they're not bad. I mean, they're well under $1,000 when I see them used, but the other thing I can show you back here, so you can see your lighted marker lights. And kind of hard to tell, but it does have a reverse light. There you go. You can see it. But yeah, this is really just a cool engine, just for the presence, you know, just for the presence. But yeah, I will, like I said, I will, and I always love the drivers on these box pock drivers. This is just so cool looking. Probably this weekend I will get a running session with all these guys going, and I'll put some proper passenger cars behind it, or some pacemaker stuff or something. But anywho, hope you guys enjoyed this. Once again, this is a locomotive you don't really see anymore. And Nicholas, if you ever if you ever find a QSI sound set that'll bolt into this guy, let me know. I will definitely put that in here long before I would put anything else in it. So, all right, everybody have a good evening, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.